Hey everybody, my name's Eric Vranish. I'm a physical therapist. I enjoy serving the running community. And well, I want to come on again and talk to you again about Achilles tendonitis and another reason why we may be struggling with it if we have it. Because I don't know if this information is easily accessible, so I thought I'd talk to you guys about it and hopefully bring some value. So we talked last time about the first reason I talked about was, a fairly mobile and maybe excessively mobile foot on top of strengthening and all that other stuff. But generally, there's some things that we can do to get rid of the pain before we start strengthening. And, strengthening goes down a pretty large road, but some of the stuff to make it feel better we can do fairly quickly. We talked about staying away from anything that makes it painful. And for a while, we have to do that. We talked about a stability shoe. We talked about possibly adding a firm but forgiving insert. We talked about also a firm, maybe quarter or half-inch heel lift. We talked about the Hoka brand type roller rocker bottom shoes. And we talked about stretching the calf as much as we could without causing any irritation to the Achilles tendon. And that's really important to not cause any irritation to the Achilles tendon with the things that we do. And I think that was mostly it. And yeah, so that type of foot is looking for a little bit more stability. And so that's pretty well what we keyed up on that. And, I don't want to disregard strengthening. It is really important. But the things that will get us out of the pain a little bit quicker is the stuff that I talked about last time. So let's talk about another reason. And it's just the opposite type of foot mechanic. And that's with a fairly firm foot. Sometimes it's a high arch. Sometimes it's the middle of the road kind of arch, but it just, the 26 bones in the foot just don't offer a whole lot of shock absorption. These are the people that end up, if this is you, I'm kind of the opposite, but if this is you, then you tend to blow through shoes pretty fast. You tend to have a pretty quick wear pattern. You have maybe some pretty, you tend to get maybe some thick calluses or quick calluses on the ball of your foot, your heel, maybe even the ball of your outside toe. This may be you. And if you walk pretty loudly without any shoes on, then this might be you as well. So anyways, let's kind of get into why you might have Achilles tendonitis because of this kind of a foot posturing. And I had a lady that had really awful patellofemoral arthritis in her early mid-30s because of a foot that just didn't absorb shock. And so what's the next thing to go? If the foot doesn't do a very good job is up the chain into the patellofemoral joint and give you some pretty bad knee pain. And showed up on x-ray that, she was in her early mid-30s and she had some pretty bad arthritis. So we'll talk about some, the stuff that causes Achilles tendonitis and this kind of foot posture is similar than what she had. Sometimes there's just a weaker link in the chain. Sometimes the first thing to go would be your knee. Sometimes the first thing to go would be Achilles tendon. It's just, sometimes it just tends to be the weaker link in the chain that gets all of the headache. It's not the same for everybody. For her, it was her patella, and for some people, it'll be the Achilles tendon. So let me try to see if I can't bring this down a little bit. So like I was saying, my foot tends to be pretty mobile, right? That's a pretty good arch. That's flatter. I've always taken care of my feet. So I've never had, when I was a kid I did, but when I started running, I really took care of my feet. So, but anyway, that's a pretty mobile foot right there. So imagine someone that doesn't have a mobile foot, right? And the foot on all its 26 bones is supposed to absorb shock a little bit, right? And then very quickly supposed to re-supinate and be this firm platform to progress over. But when your foot doesn't do that, and the only motion there is at the ankle when we run, then there is a ton of excessive stress right here as the calf tries to slow down that progression, and the Achilles tendon is connected to the heel. If the foot isn't absorbing any shock or not doing a very good job, and the shoe we're in is maybe old, or we blow through shoes pretty fast, then it just tends not to be a good shock absorber. Or we're in the wrong shoe, which we'll talk about later. The ankle is the only thing that really absorbs any shock with the Achilles tendon and calf. So given that, given that kind of foot posturing, the Achilles tendon takes the hit sometimes first. And like I said, sometimes it's the knee for some people, but Achilles tendonitis tends to show up sometimes in this kind of foot posturing. And we can get into, gait mechanics and, the minimalist shoe and, a forefoot strike pattern when we're running. Sometimes a forefoot strike pattern when we're running, if we tend to stride out a little bit too far, we can cause knee pain. So that's kind of a big deal, to end up going to a minimalist shoe. Sometimes it works. For certain populations it works. And there's a cult following for the minimalist shoe for runners, and there's a cult following for just the opposite, which is that Hoka brand kind of minimalist shoe. So, or the Hoka brand kind of rocker bottom shoe. And so let me bring it up again. So generally, let's try to, just so you can see me together. Okay, so you have 3 rockers with your foot and ankle. You have your heel, right? You have your ankle, and then when we progress over it, you have your forefoot. So, and some people that don't have a very good foot mechanics that absorb shock very well, the foot can sometimes be, you get the Achilles tendonitis. You get this roller, if you get a roller, kind of a rocker bottom shoe like Hoka, or if you want to change your foot strike pattern and get a minimalist shoe, sometimes that helps. But the easiest thing is sometimes just to get into the Hoka roller rocker bottom shoe that allows for smoother progression when we have any kind of pathology or pain point down the leg. And it kind of, it's like a dimmer switch, if I could say that. It's a slow kind of on and a slow off for all of the ligaments, tendons, bones, muscles all the way down the lower leg into the hip and back. So it's like this dimmer switch that allows this progression without irritating things as easily. But for this type of foot that needs a little bit of help, we're still going to look for a shoe, but we got to match the shoe to the foot, right? So this kind of shoe or this kind of foot would match more of a neutral shoe, which to me, the way I remember it is like nothing. The foot actually has its own support and does a really good job at it, almost too good, and it's really firm, and so it doesn't allow a whole lot of shock absorption. So the neutral shoe will allow for much better shock absorption. That's what it's designed for. So if you get more of a roller rocker bottom kind of a shoe like Hoka brand, and you add, and you make sure you get the neutral shoe type, that's helpful. And then on top of that, what is also helpful is getting like a full length gel insert. And these people really need, your foot and your ankle and your Achilles tendon just wants to have something else between the foot and the ground to just simply help out and absorb shock, because sometimes the Achilles tendon and the calf are like the only ones doing it before it goes up the chain. And so you need something between the foot and the ground to do all of this. And so the rocker bottom shoe will help with the progression. the neutral type of shoe design will help for shock absorption. And what also helps on top of that is a full-length gel insert will also help that. And also what will help that is a gel cup that will elevate the heel a little bit, put the Achilles tendon and calf on a little bit more slack to make it feel a little bit better, a little bit more supported and elevated instead of feeling like it needs to stretch out. So I would consider adding all of that stuff in combinations, or take some away or put some on depending on how much pain relief the person got. So it's a full-length gel insert. Sometimes I'd add a gel heel cup. It'd be the neutral shoe and that rocker bottom kind of a shoe as well. And what will also help is some calf flexibility in this population as well. So stretch your calves, but you can't allow yourself to bring on the Achilles tendon symptom. You can't feel it in your Achilles tendon. When we stretch, we're not supposed to feel it in our tendon really that much. Let's feel it in the muscle. And if you feel it in your Achilles tendon and you're stretching it out, you maybe want to reconsider how you're doing it. And you gotta be concerned about whether or not you're actually just irritating the area, even just a little bit. We can't give it an excuse to be irritated when it's trying to heal. And these are things that I need to talk about and feel like I need to talk about to you guys, because you need to create an environment for healing. It's not always about the pain pills, the injections, and the surgery. When we go to the physicians and stuff like that. We need to create an environment for healing. Our body's screaming for it. We need to give it. If we enjoy running, we're gonna have to back off just a little bit, maybe get on the bike. I hate it. I don't like it myself, recumbent bike, or, maybe on a, mountain bike or whatever. But you got to put all those things together for the sake of your heel, or for the sake of your Achilles tendon, and give it an opportunity to be successful with healing. Let me see. So about the stretching too. And I'll talk about this probably tomorrow or Thursday. Is that a lot of times if we've had Achilles tendonitis, on and off, maybe a couple of months or so, sometimes the sural nerve, the sural nerve that goes down, you can even look that up, S-U-R-A-L, sural nerve, goes along the outside of the Achilles tendon, and goes down the outside of the heel and down the outside of the foot. Sometimes it ends up being involved, and it's sometimes not the Achilles tendon anymore, even though it feels exactly the same. Sometimes it's the nerve, sometimes it's the sural nerve. And so I'll talk about that maybe tomorrow or Thursday, but that's another thing that that needs to be kind of looked at. But this live stream would be forever if I did all this stuff together. So the person has maybe a little more firm arch, and you probably know this by developing calluses at the heel, ball of the big foot, or ball of the big toe, and ball of small toe. You probably need to look at the stuff that we're talking about tonight, which is the neutral shoe, a roller rocker bottom, a full-length gel insert, because the poor ankle and foot and Achilles tendon is really wanting something to absorb shock before the shock absorption gets to it. And so it's the gel stuff. It's the gel insert full length. It's the heel cup, gel heel cup. It's the roller rocker bottom shoe. It's the neutral shoe. It's the calf stretch, as long as you don't feel it in the Achilles tendon. It should feel the same left to right. If you do a stretch in your calf and you feel it in your in your Achilles tendon, check it out on the other side. If you don't feel it in your Achilles tendon, then it's best to back off and maybe roll your calf instead. But these are the guys that have maybe a firmer arch that isn't very forgiving. These are the guys that tend to have the nervous system a little bit more irritable and involved sometimes. So be really careful with rolling your calf, because if you roll your calf and you feel it in the Achilles tendon, either during or afterwards, it's probably better you back off too. And I'll talk about that sural nerve thing either tomorrow night or night after, but anyhow. Yeah, I hope this helps. I wanted to bring some content to you guys tonight. I'm actually just going through the content of my book that hasn't been released quite yet. I just know that sometimes getting the right info just doesn't get to you fast enough. So I just want to bring it to you guys and just talk about it. And yeah, so anyway, let's see. If there's anything else that I missed here? I don't think so. Oh yeah, I did. One more thing. Tape job. Yeah. So the tape might have, okay, this is backwards, but it's rock tape. I'll just cut off a couple strips and show you guys what I do. And sometimes I use a tape called Elasticon. That's thick. That's a pretty thick type of tape. And sometimes I will use 2 strips, depending on how much relief people need. And the tape only offers just a little bit of, I mean, I guess the word is support. It makes it feel like the Achilles tendon doesn't have to take all of the load, and the calf doesn't have to take all of the load. So I'm going to show you real quick. This is rock tape, like I was saying. It's that stretchy stuff that you see on it got a lot of fanfare back in the Chinese summer games. Just about everybody, particularly the volleyball athletes, were having it. So anyway, let me put it on real quick, give you guys an idea of how I put it on. And yeah, it's about maybe, you tear it right around there, it's about maybe 2 inches. You see it's kind of stretchy. That's about 100%, that's about 50. So between 50 and 75, I'll stretch it out, but I'll just lay down this first little couple inches. So say it was the right Achilles tendon, even though it's gonna look like my left. Just kind of place it right down to the heel. Lay down the first couple inches. Stretch it out about 75% of what it can offer, 50 to 75. Sometimes when you put your sock on, that'll roll up on you, so just be careful about that. And I will double it up most of the time for these guys, because if you are pain-free, and we can do all these things, and you can run or at least jog, maybe not as intensely as you would like to, but it offers you support so that you can run and do your thing. Well, fantastic. As long as you don't have any pain afterwards. You don't want to have any pain afterwards either, because you just flared it up. You got to be careful with this thing. Your body's telling you it's hurt. Take care of it. But all this stuff that we just talked about, let's just go from the top again. So, roller rocker bottom shoe generally. You can use the neutral shoe, but you tend to have to change the whole strike pattern stuff. And sometimes it helps, but it just ends up being a little convoluted way to make it all happen. There's reasons to do it, and there's reasons for the shoe. So just easy thing. Roller rocker bottom shoe allows for a little bit easier progression. Let's see, the insert full length gel. Sometimes a gel heel cup, because it elevates the heel a little bit, puts a little bit of slack in the system, so the Achilles tendon doesn't feel like it has to stretch out. And neutral shoe for the type, and stretching it out as long as you don't feel it in the Achilles tendon, or rolling it out as long as you don't feel it in the Achilles tendon, rolling out the calf and adding the tape. So I'll say it again, Elasticon, this was rock tape. There's all the kind, there's KT tape, there's Kinesio tape, there's TheraBand tape. All of it does essentially the very similar things. The Elasticon tape is a little bit thicker and super strong. So that would be for the people that are in a good bit of pain. And sometimes I'll double up that as well. Let's see, I think I got a picture of it here. Let me just kind of show you real quick. If you guys are interested, it's actually some pretty solid tape. Put it on people that I'm trying to rehab. Let me turn this thing around. For like maybe Achilles tendon tear repair, try to get a normalized kind of a gait walking. There it is. Let's see. Whoop. Let me take this thing out of here. Sorry. Get it close. So that's the Elasticon. Generally a 2 or 3 inch kind of wide. Spelled with a K, Elasticon. Anyway, so there we go. Yeah, so I hope that helps. A lot of stuff in there, but you generally won't get this information unless it's just kind of thrown at you. So thought I'd just throw it out to you, and maybe you guys can share it out to other people too. So anyways, hope this helps. Hope you guys have a great night, and happy running, and maybe I'll see you on the road. Take care, or on the trail. God bless you guys. Have a great night, and I just want to thank people for coming on here. You know, Sheena, Juliana, John, Christy, Annie, Bobby, Danny, and anybody else that came on. If you guys are interested in, I tend to love talking about this stuff. So sometimes when I'm, sometimes it's the only way to get it out there. But you know, I love talking about it. So if you guys got any kind of pain points, I love chatting with you. And Jerry, that's Jerry Novak. Thanks, man. Just got done. Yeah, take care, you guys. Have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow. Or yeah, I'll see you tomorrow around the same time. God bless you guys.